I don't know how to start this video. So yeah, when I was a kid, lots of things scared me kinda. Whether it was intentional or not, it would range from horror movies to real life situations. Today, I'm gonna tell you all the things that scared me when I was little. Just letting you know, this is not in chronological order, so grab something to drink and enjoy the video. Starting, we have TV Amber Alerts, which should not surprise anyone. Whenever an Amber Alert appeared on screen, it just sent me into the cold reality of life when I was just trying to watch my favorite show. The Amber Alerts usually broadcasted a missing kid report. Whenever an Amber Alert appeared on screen, I would just back away from the TV because of the eerie beeps. The robotic voice was also terrifying. It's even creepy listening to it now because how many times I saw it. Speaking of watching TV, whenever Halloween was around, I always watched AMC's Fear Fest. If you don't know, Fear Fest was AMC airing classic horror movie films like Friday the 13th and Halloween. I was always too much of a wimp to watch the movies in full, so I flipped the channel back and forth so I could see what was happening without getting scared. Looking back at it now, I'm not really sure the logic of it, but some horror movie scenes did stick with me for a little while. One of them was when Jason killed Trey in Freddy vs. Jason. It even gave me a strange dream. It's hard to recall, but it was a stormtrooper in the same position as Jason when he killed Trey. He killed Trey by just folding the bed over and over again. As you can tell, that dream was dumb as fuck. In Jason Goes to Hell, there was a scene where Jason's heart was still beating, despite being disconnected from the body. The heart was supposedly hypnotizing the man, doing the autopsy into eating the heart, so Jason can possess the man. Which made my young mind have more questions than being scared, honestly. It honestly reminded me of eating a cheeseburger. In the Jeepers Creepers series, only two scenes scared me. The first one was the ending of Jeepers Creepers 1, where the guy had no eyes, and you saw Jeepers Creepers' eyes poking through him. I saw the scene with no context while skipping through channels. In the second movie, he had to replace his head after getting impaled with a rod. He then ripped off his own head after decapitating a teenager, so he can use the head as a replacement. It was a cool scene looking back now. Moving on. I was terrified of the original Pennywise. Not really a big shocker there. I was shown the movie at a very young age by a family member. His stare and his teeth creeped me out, but the balloons scared me the most. Whenever the balloons popped on screen and the blood splattered, I originally didn't think much of it at the time, until I got a balloon myself. Well, maybe more like an army of balloons. There was a church that gave free lunches for the summer, and you got a balloon every time you went. So I had a bunch of balloons on the floor. So when I was watching videos on my tablet, I kept looking back and forth to make sure they didn't pop. Moving on from movies, creepypasta scared me a bit. Mainly the images and not the actual stories. I'd say the main reason why the most creepypastas were as popular as they once were was because the images that went along with the stories. The Jeff the Killer image was the scariest out of all of them in my opinion. I was watching a reading of the Jeff the Killer creepypasta, the ending of the video. They had someone whisper time to go to sleep. All it did was really creep me out. Nothing too big though. The Slenderman images were cool. I remember watching Slenderman sightings thinking they were real. Does anyone else remember the Slenderman song? Anyways, but the main creepypasta that scared me was the Candle Cove video. The loud screaming made me have a bad panic attack kinda. I was breathing heavy with my eyes wide open. That memory is still locked in my head. I decided to watch the video after hearing so much about the story. I searched it up on my tablet, then I watched a bit of it, but I wish I turned down the audio. It absolutely scared me so much. When I heard the screams, I tried turning down the audio as fast as I could. I'm not really sure why I did not just turn off the tablet. To be fair, I was panicking, so I didn't think straight. After that happened, I never watched Candle Cove again. Now let's move on to Minecraft. I don't have a good transition at all. When Herobrine was around, Herobrine sightings were my favorite thing to watch. One that holds a special place in my heart is the story of Herobrine, because that's the only Herobrine video I watched that creeped me out. When the video ended, you saw his character's eyes bleed. I know it was not creepy whatsoever, but it was still creepy for my little mind, because I watched it at night. I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade, maybe 2nd, I don't even know. Mining in caves late at night, hearing the ambient noises in the cave, always gave me the feeling of being watched. So in a way, I guess I somewhat believed in Herobrine. I know it's dumb. There was a lot of theories about it though, like the infamous Disc 11. We all heard this music disc before. A player running away desperately trying to escape whatever is tailing him. His heavy breathing. Even when I was in creative, I did not want to listen to Disc 11. I'm not really sure why it's in the game though. Maybe to spark theories? Then again, it's not the only creepy thing in Minecraft. I love the ambient noises of Minecraft. It gave me chills, but I loved it. This one's pretty quick. The Enderman screams used to horrify me. Whenever I accidentally looked at the Enderman's face, I obviously lowered down the audio. You know me already. One more thing before we go on the paranormal stuff. 1000 Ways to Die was a show that showed strange deaths. My aunt was watching 1000 Ways to Die, and I started watching it behind the couch secretly. And I saw these two guys screwing around while smoking weed. One of them was driving a forklift, with the other guy behind having a rope around his waist on a dolly. And a piece of the rope got caught, and it started to slowly rip him apart. All I did when I saw it was just stare. Then my aunt realized I was watching it with her, so she changed the channel. We will discuss my paranormal situations. Well, I don't really know what to call them really. When I was in my living room late at night, on my tablet, everyone was asleep. Only 2 people were in my house. My cousin sleeping right near me, and my grandma, sleeping in the room with the door open. In my eyesight, I heard a loud whistle on my house. When I heard it, it was coming in a 360 direction. And I know it was neither my grandma or my cousin, because they were both dead asleep in my view. And it was a strong sounding whistle too. Neither of them were able to do a strong whistle like that one. I then covered myself with my blanket, trying to hide underneath it. Fun fact, I can't sleep without a blanket covering my head, because of sleep paralysis. I had it at a very, very young age. It was pretty much this image, but kinda taller, kinda like smoke. That was the only time I ever had sleep paralysis. I want it again. The only other paranormal thing that happened to me was whenever I slept, I felt little hands slowly crawling on me. Every night, slowly crawling up to my face. And I swear to God, it was not my head messing around with me. I felt the blanket pushed down with the hands. I always kept the blanket on my face, so I wasn't gonna look. They were kinda tiny feeling, kinda like doll-sized hands. I told my friend this one time in elementary school, and she told me it might have been a ghost. My response was, probably. I want a real ghost experience, but what would I even do? I would just be there just like, oh look, it's a ghost. But the one thing that actually gave me a childhood trauma out of all of them was The Grudge 3. I forgot how old was I when I watched the movie, but that movie fucked me up. Like, very, very bad. It's even hard for me to look at images of The Grudge, so I may or may not edit any images of The Grudge. The way I saw it was because my aunt decided to watch the movie, and she thought it was a good idea for me to watch it with her. So, the opening scene was The Grudge killing a young boy, and that scene traumatized me. He was in a mental asylum because no one believed his story about The Grudge. And the doctor tells him, she promises nothing bad will happen to him. And you guessed it, everything went bad. The Grudge enters the room, and the boy tried to get the security guard's attention, but he just wasn't paying attention. And she pulled him down to dislocate all his limbs. I don't even like listening to the croaks the Grudge made. My aunt made it worse. Whenever I tried sleeping, she did the croaks, and it gave me a lot of nightmares. Even when I was writing the script, I had a nightmare about the Grudge. But I'll get over it. Maybe someday. And this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. Please subscribe to me, join my Discord server, all that generic shit. Only if you like what you saw, that is. But until next time, love me.